Ever wonder what makes a movie stick with you? For years, even decades. Today, we're getting into a film that does exactly that. David Fincher's 1995 thriller, Se7en. We're going to break down just how this incredibly dark movie has managed to captivate and, let's be honest, terrify audiences for so long. So let's dive in. I mean, just look at this quote. It's not pulling any punches, is it? Calling it one of the darkest, most gripping psychological thrillers ever made. That is a seriously high bar. So let's figure out what exactly earns it that kind of praise. All right, first things first, the premise. The whole power of this film really starts with its central idea, which is just terrifyingly simple and oh so effective. Okay, so the concept is just genius. You've got a serial killer who isn't just killing randomly, no. He's basing every single murder on one of the 7 deadly sins. Right away, this isn't just about violence. It becomes this twisted, meticulous plan, a kind of dark sermon, and that makes the whole thing as smart as it is scary. Next up, let's talk about the world this all happens in, because a killer concept like that needs the perfect stage. And in Se7en, the city itself feels like it's part of the crime. You know, the film does this amazing thing where the city, which, by the way, is never even named, it feels like a living, breathing character. It's not just a backdrop. It's this oppressive, suffocating force that's constantly weighing you down, right along with the detectives. And Fincher builds this feeling with some really specific choices. Think about it. The rain. It never, ever stops. Everything is decaying and grimy. The colors are all washed out. It all just screams that something is deeply wrong, like the moral corruption has literally seeped into the concrete. So in this miserable, decaying world, who were the people trying to navigate it? Let's talk about the characters. At the heart of it all, you have this classic buddy cop duo, but with a really dark twist. On one side, you have Somerset. He's calm, he's seen it all, and he is just days from retirement. And on the other, you have Mills, young, impulsive, and desperate to make a name for himself. This clash, this cynicism versus idealism, is really what drives the entire story forward. But of course, your heroes are only as good as their villain. And John Doe, wow, he is just unforgettable. What makes him so terrifying isn't that he's screaming and yelling. It's his calm, his quiet, methodical intelligence. He genuinely believes he's doing something righteous, and that conviction is what makes him one of the most unsettling bad guys in movie history. So, we've got the premise, the world, the people. But what's the actual method here? How does the film create such a terrifying effect? Let's get into the art of suspense. Now, this is the secret sauce. The real horror in Se7en isn't about what the movie shows you. It's all about what it doesn't show you. Its real power is suggestion. It forces your own imagination to fill in the blanks. And let's be real, what our minds can cook up is way, way worse than any special effect. So instead of just throwing a bunch of gore on screen, Fincher builds this crippling suspense around the violence. We show up at the crime scenes right alongside the detectives, and we have to piece together what happened from these haunting, symbolic clues. It's all about psychological terror, and the pacing is so tight, you barely have a moment to catch your breath. And here's the thing, it's not just a scary movie, it's also incredibly smart. It's constantly asking you, the viewer, to wrestle with these huge ideas. You know, what is justice? What is sin? Are people fundamentally good? These are the questions that stick with you long after the movie is over. And everything we've talked about, the world, the characters, the suspense, it all comes together and builds to one of the most famous and maybe infamous endings in movie history. Let's talk about that climax. These 4 little words, what's in the box? If you've seen the movie, you just got a chill, didn't you? This question, this single moment, is the absolute peak of everything the film has been building. It's just pure, unbearable dread packed into one line. And the reason this scene is so iconic is because it's not just some cheap plot twist. It is an emotional gut punch, because in the end, the killer wins. Evil triumphs. You're left with zero relief, zero catharsis, just this devastating feeling that completely flips the script on the story you thought you were watching. So, when you add up the brilliant premise, that suffocating world, the compelling characters, and that legendary ending, what's the final verdict here? Well, it's pretty clear. Se7en is a masterpiece, plain and simple. It's dark, it's gripping, but it's also incredibly thought-provoking. And because of that, it really rose above the genre to become one of the most influential thrillers ever put on film. A legacy that's pretty much set in stone by our Source Review's final rating, a near-perfect 9.5 out of 10. You just don't see that every day. Which kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. Se7en proves that the answer is a resounding yes. It's the kind of movie that gets under your skin and into your head at the exact same time, making you question, well, not just what's in the box, but the very nature of the world we're all living in.